someone who has breast but also has a
Yeah. The issue is that the caveat there about other physical variations. So one thing that you should be aware of is that the actual number of intersex people has been, over the years, drastically inflated. And one thing that they've done is they've included, for example, a male who has an abnormally small penis size, for example, can be included as intersex under current definitions of the term.
In a recent heated debate, Matt Walsh took a firm stance against the pervasive gender ideology that has been infiltrating various aspects of American life, from public schools to media outlets.
I'm going to preface my question by stating that there's currently 5.6 million intersex Americans, which are people who are biologically not considered female or male because they have incorrect chromosomes during their process of being born. So my question is, why do you personally not support gender-affirming care when a majority of those who are seeking gender-affirming care are intersex individuals?
As always, Walsh approached the topic with his signature clarity and unwavering commitment to factual accuracy, making a compelling case against the conflation of intersex and transgender issues.
Considering that there are double the amount of intersex people that are Americans and adults than there are trans people, and why are you fueling the rights ideology of this trans panic when considering that this healthcare that isn't even really for trans people, they just happen to use it, is more for other issues, and by doing so you're limiting people who are suffering?
The debate began with a question about gender-affirming care, specifically concerning intersex individuals. Walsh was asked why he doesn't support such care when a significant portion of those seeking it are intersex individuals. The argument was framed around the supposed necessity of gender-affirming care for addressing real medical issues faced by intersex people.
So let's just go through a couple points here. First of all, you're saying that the so-called gender-affirming care is not for trans people. So just for the sake of argument, what if I said, okay, I agree with everything you said, gender-affirming care should be available for intersex people, but not trans. Can we agree on that then?
Yeah, I would agree, but the laws that you're supporting don't. That's why I'm asking the question.
That's actually not accurate. Have you looked at the legislation?
Yeah, can I respond to you really quick?
Walsh immediately challenged the premise, emphasizing the importance of distinguishing between intersex and transgender individuals. He highlighted that conflating the two under the same umbrella is misleading and serves a broader ideological agenda.
What specific law would prevent someone with a genetic anomaly or deformity from seeking some kind of medical care or plastic surgery?
So currently one of the ways to fix intersex issues that you find down the line, which is currently typically infertility, for men, erectile dysfunction, when you figure it out when you're about a teenager.
Walsh made it clear that if gender-affirming care is genuinely about addressing intersex conditions, he could support it for intersex individuals, but not for transgender individuals. This distinction is crucial, as it underscores the manipulation of language and definitions to push a specific narrative.
A couple of points here, a couple of things you said that I think aren't true. The first is you said, how many intersex people?
There's currently, the United States clarifies in their census that there's 5.6 million Americans, which is double the amount of trans adults in the United States.
5.6 million. Do you know how, for that figure, to arrive at that figure, do you know how intersex is defined?
Yes, intersex is defined as either having a chromosomal, here I actually have the exact definition pulled up on my phone from the US Census, because I wanted to make sure. It includes people with an extra or missing sex-linked chromosome, those born with other physical variations that don't fit into the categories of male or female. This is seen as someone who has breast.
One of the critical points Walsh tackled was the statistic that there are 5.6 million intersex Americans, a number frequently used to argue for the necessity of gender-affirming care. Walsh expressed skepticism about this figure, explaining that the definition of intersex has been significantly inflated over the years.
Which bans these procedures, castration, mutilation, specifically mentions that if someone has an actual valid medical issue, then obviously they don't apply. It's the same thing as we should ban cosmetic double mastectomies for gender confused women, Obviously, if you have breast cancer, you need a double mastectomy, then you would not be forbidden from getting that. It's very easy to write that language into the law.
According to Walsh, the inclusion criteria for intersex now encompass minor anatomical variances that do not significantly impact biological sex determination. This inflation, he argued, serves a strategic purpose for the LGBTQ+ movement, making the numbers appear more significant than they are.
So what they're doing is they're taking people to sort of inflate the number of intersex people. They're taking people who their biological sex is very clear, but there might be some variances in their body, and then they're saying, well, that's intersex too. And I think the reason that they're doing that is, well, it kind of goes right to this conversation now.
Walsh further argued that the existence of intersex individuals is conveniently used by the LGBTQ+ movement to bolster their case for gender-affirming care. He pointed out that the actual number of people with serious intersex conditions is quite small, and the broader inclusion of individuals with minor variances is a deliberate attempt to inflate the statistics.
That the existence of intersex people is judged as very convenient for trans people in the LGBT movement. It's why they've included intersex in the pride flag, even though by your own accounting, intersex has nothing to do with gay pride, trans, got nothing to do with it. It is a genetic anomaly, it is a physical deformity, it's a defect, it's a disease, whatever words you want to use.
When challenged on the specifics of laws banning gender-affirming care, Walsh remained steadfast. He acknowledged not having read every detail of the Kentucky law in question, but referenced the Tennessee law with which he is familiar.
So there is a concerted effort to inflate those numbers because they find them useful. Last point, it's not that intersex people are not their own sex. Okay, you said that they wouldn't count as male or female. That's not correct. There are only males and females in the human species. There is no third sex. No biologist worth his salt would recognize any third human sex. It can't be defined, it can't be named. An intersex person, an intersex individual, is a man or a woman.
Walsh asserted that these laws are designed to protect children from irreversible procedures, like castration and mutilation, while still allowing for necessary medical treatments for legitimate conditions. He emphasized that these laws do not prevent individuals with valid medical issues from receiving appropriate care.
Whose biological sex, for this small minority of people, is harder to determine because of genetic anomalies that may affect, for example, their sex organs. But they're still male or female. Okay, there are only male or female gametes, ova or sperm. That's all that there are. There are no other options.
Walsh took the debate further by highlighting what's happening in public schools, using Dallas public schools as an example. He revealed that documents promoting LGBTQ+ transitions were being handed out to elementary and middle school students, guiding them on how to obtain hormone therapy.
So, you said that it's either male or female. It's just harder in determining what it is. But in this time frame, would you say that there is technically a fluid system of what could be considered male and what could be considered female?
A crucial part of Walsh's argument is the assertion that there are only two sexes, male and female. He challenged the notion of a third sex, explaining that biological sex is determined by reproductive capacity. An intersex person is still biologically male or female, even if there are anomalies in their sexual development.
Real-life examples, people who do have breasts that look like female breasts, but they do have a penis, would you say that that is a man?
There's a very good system for determining if there's a male or female, and it's right almost every time. I mean, it's right 99.9% of the time. It's only for a small minority of genetic anomalies that there's any kind of issue at all. Now, you just gave the example of someone with breasts and a penis.
Throughout the debate, Walsh methodically dismantled the logical fallacies presented by his opponent. He questioned the premise that gender is fluid or that there can be a spectrum of gender identities. Walsh insisted on the scientific reality that biological sex is binary and immutable. He argued that redefining these fundamental truths based on subjective feelings or social constructs is not only misleading, but dangerous.
Again, you're taking a hypothetical person. I would need an actual individual, and depending on how they look, that shows how deep we sort of have to go to figure out what their actual biological sex is. But, I will say that a male who develops breasts is obviously still a male. The last point I'll make about this is that another way of looking at it, there's no third sex, right? And the way that we know that is because there is no category of person who has the reproductive capacities of both male and female. So it's you either have the reproductive capacity of male or you have it of female, or you're supposed to have the reproductive capacities of a male, but you don't because of a disease, or female, but you don't because of a disease.
Matt Walsh's performance in this debate showcased his unwavering commitment to exposing the flaws in the gender ideology movement. He stood firm on the science of biological sex, challenged inflated statistics, and called out the manipulation of intersex conditions. Walsh's arguments were clear, logical, and backed by a commitment to protecting children and preserving biological reality. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.